this video, this segment is going to be focusing on, first of all, the utter hypocrisy of the Biden-Harris administration, especially that red line that Joe Biden gave to good old Benjamin Netanyahu, because we're living in a day and age of madness and stupidity. And let's face it, Hollywood and a lot of these actors and celebrities are doing everything they can to be silent. Now, there's only a brave handful of people who have power and influence and large social media followings that are at least on the right side of history, because there's a genocide happening in Gaza. All right. I want to pull up this video here where Roger Waters, and a few other brave people speak out, because then we're going to hear about the utter hypocrisy of Biden and his administration, as especially how his administration decided to, tiptoe and, walking back Biden's claims regarding the red line for Israel if they invade Rafah. So first, let's hear what Roger Waters and some of his friends are stating, because we need more people to speak out. There's a genocide in Gaza, 13,000 children killed. Where they're getting shot at snipers, artillery shells landing on them, drone strikes. Hell, tanks running them over.
13,000 children have been killed in Gaza.
The victims are always the children. It's the children. Endlessly we hear how many children are killed, and the disproportionate amount of children who died is just truly horrific.
Stop killing children.
17,000 children have been orphaned or separated from their parents.
Stop orphaning children.
600 healthcare facilities have been attacked.
Stop bombing hospitals.
400 healthcare workers have been killed.
Stop killing medics.
90% of Gaza's children.
900,000 of Gaza's children
have been forced out of their homes.
Stop displacing children.
90% of people in Gaza.
1.8 million people in Gaza
face hunger
and starvation.
Stop. Stop.
Stop. Stop.
Stop.
Stop.
Stop. Stop. Stop starving children.
1,000 children in Gaza have lost one
or both of their legs.
Stop injuring children.
Stop killing innocent people.
Stop starving people.
Stop killing starving people.
Stop this insanity.
Stop the insanity. Stop the inhumanity.
Stop the inhumanity.
You think Biden's administration is going to listen? Folks, just heads up. The White House is already walking back Biden's claims regarding that red line for Israel if they invade Rafah.
Do you have a red line? For instance, would invasion of Rafah, which you have urged him not to do, would that be a red line? And he answered definitively, it's a red line.
Well, I think you stopped conveniently after a single sentence, and it may not have exactly been that sentence.
Israel, the defense of Israel.
And keep going. And if you read the full answer, and I'm just going to leave it at his answer, because I think he put it in his words, the way he wants to communicate this issue and the way that he's talking to the Israelis as well. And again, I just want to point out that the whole issue of the red line, as you all define it, is something that you guys like. It's almost become a bit of a national security parlor game. For the president, he's really focused on the substance, on the policy, on his concern about the protection of civilians, and about Israel being able to sustain a campaign in a way that ultimately leads to an outcome in which the people of Israel are secure.
So in other words, what he's saying is Israel's going to invade Rafah, and the Biden administration is not going to do a single thing. They're not going to lift a finger. Vote blue, no matter who. Is this your firm talking old dog? I know Biden right now, at this point, folks, hey, surprise, surprise, color me shocked. But both Biden and Trump have clinched their nominations. So, okay, here we are again. And not a single one of them is going to lift a finger to stop this madness.
Hamas is crushed, and there is a long-term solution to stability and peace in the region. He believes there is a path to do that, and that path does not lie in smashing into Rafah, where there are 1.3 million people, in the absence of a credible plan to deal with the population there. And again, as things stand today, we have not seen what that plan is.
And hey, let's listen to the people at corporate media, right? Because, listen, I have my criticism for these politicians, But Ilhan Omar is called the public relations agent for Hamas. Now, I have my criticism for Democrats, but here we have the big brain people at CNN saying, "Are we not to go to someone who is a supporter of the BDS movement for their advice on what Israel should do? There are important voices for the Palestinian people, and she is not one of them." Very curious, CNN. Very curious indeed. Let's play this video.
Scott, were you surprised to hear her say pretty clearly she would support President Biden in November? Some of her colleagues, I'm not sure they would say that today.
By the way, it's just it is interesting though that still, no matter what, Democrats will be supporting Democrats, because what more can you expect out of Democratic politicians?
No, she's a Democrat. They're going to vote for Biden. I'm not surprised about that. I am surprised that in the year of our Lord 2024, there is a public relations agent for Hamas sitting in the United States Congress. The reason Israel is not at that meeting is because Hamas will not provide a list of the living hostages. I didn't hear a word of concern for the hostages. Ceasefire, she said, don't happen magically. Well, there was a ceasefire in place on October the 6th. And who broke it on October the 7th? I cannot believe, honestly, what I heard out of that interview. What I want are for those hostages to come home. And I want somebody out there to show just a little bit of remorse that Hamas broke the ceasefire, raped and murdered horrifically women, all kinds of people.
Now, that story was debunked by the Gray Zone. Shout out to Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. Even the New York Times had to retract that story. But hey, Ilhan Omar, explain to us again. You're supporting Biden still? What?
Minnesota, Ilhan Omar. She's a member of the Progressive Caucus in the House, and she's very vocally opposes Israel's war in Gaza. Congresswoman, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Abby.
So President Biden just a couple hours ago crossed that delegate threshold to cinch the nomination for your party. Are you personally comfortable with him as your party's standard bearer in November?
I wonder. Get ready for a word salad. Because, let's face it. It's all a game of politics, smoke and mirrors. I told you we were going to have a crazy show today. I wonder what kind of word salad's going to be delivered to us this time.
November.
Well, congratulations to the president. And as we've said for a long time, no sitting first-term president has lost the nomination of his party to run for re-election. And I know that every single Democrat in the country is going to make sure that we do everything that we can so that we avoid a Trump presidency.
The State of the Union address was just about a week ago, and it's no secret one of the goals was for President Biden to reset the narrative around his age. Did he do that for you? Did he lay any concerns that you may have had about his...
Say your name. My name is Reek. My name is Reek.
His age or his ability to do the job?
I was never really concerned with that. I've spent time with the president, both in the White House, traveled back with him to my district, spent time with him in the district. It always seemed very clear to me that he had the energy and the ability to continue to do this work.
One of the things happening on Capitol Hill this week, it's become a big point of contention, a ban on TikTok. You have, this might surprise some people, the same position as Donald Trump when it comes to banning TikTok. Does that feel a little weird to you?
I have the same position as the majority of Americans and TikTok users have. And, today we had an Intel briefing and none of the information that was provided to us really was persuasive in the fact that there is anything to be really concerned that it's not concerning when it comes to Facebook or Twitter.
So when we just had one of your Democratic calls.
By the way, folks, just breaking news right now in 3, 2, 1. Insane censorship bill passes the U.S. House in order to protect Israel and silence alternative news. The ruling class has banned TikTok because empire propaganda was being debunked on the app. Every other excuse they make is exactly that, an excuse to crack down on free speech. Folks, I love you. Just remember, I always wanted to live a full life, okay? And just remember, Heartlands Media, we are live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. If there isn't a reason, that means they got me, baby. They got me. So hey, look, Congress, take it away, you scumbag villainy. There we go. The yeas have it. All right. There it is. There it is. Representative Ilhan Omar. So what does this all mean? Well, that means big silence and suppression. This is all interconnected because I played Roger Waters' video. I played that segment of CNN where they're saying, hey, come on. We can't have Ilhan Omar up there. She's a spokesperson for Hamas. No, she's not. She's with the Democratic Party. And I played this video of course, her interview where she's all in for Biden still. All in for Biden. And I also played that video of where the administration is walking back Biden's red line because without any real opposition and a silence of free speech, Netanyahu vows to finish the job in Gaza. Play the mafia music if you can, folks. Play the mafia music, right? Right? Play it, folks. So let's go ahead and read it. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reaffirmed his goal of eliminating Palestinian Hamas movement, insisting that no amount of international pressure, no amount of international pressure and criticism over civilian casualties will stop Israel. Yay! Did you see that? See that, Democrats? Your words mean shit. Look at that. No amount of international pressure, boom, off the table. And no amount of criticism of civilian casualties will stop Israel. Good God, there's going to be a lot of people dead. I never, ever want to hear from anybody in any position of power or anybody saying, oh, if there's a crime like what we saw in World War II, we'll step up and stop it. Bull. Bull on that. We'll stop it. We're the good guys. We're going to stop it. You heard it right here. Here, I'll read this again. Israeli Prime Minister. Oh, sorry about that. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reaffirmed his goal of eliminating the Palestinian Hamas movement, insisting that no amount of international pressure and criticism over civilian casualties will stop Israel. The country's very survival is at stake and total victory. Total victory. Whoa, boy, wow. Sounds a little Third Reich right there. It's within reach, he claimed. Wow. Netanyahu vowed to bring the offense into Rafah, a major city near Gaza's border with Egypt, and the last refuge of some 1.5 million people. Wow. So people are going to die. The city and its surroundings became crowded with refugees after the Israeli Defense Forces instructed Palestinians to flee to the northern part of the enclave. The Israeli Prime Minister repeatedly rejected international calls for ceasefire, arguing that the IDF must clear out the remaining Hamas strongholds. To win this war, we must destroy the remaining Hamas battalions in Rafah. If not, Hamas will be regroup, rearm, and reconquer Gaza, and then we're back to square one, and that's an intolerable threat that we cannot accept. We will finish the job in Rafah while enabling the civilian populace to get out of harm's way. Oh, boy. Don't worry, folks. Congress won't do anything. So there we go. Finish the job. Finish the job, right? Hey, Ilhan Omar, take it away. How is it that Biden's going to stop all this? And tell me again how Trump's a bad guy.
Colleagues, Congressman Moskowitz on the show last night, he suggested that, for example, when it comes to the Israel-Hamas war, that China is using TikTok's algorithms to ramp up divisions in this country. And that's one of the concerns that he has in terms of national security. Do you think there's any validity to that?
What I do think that people are finding discomfort is the fact that for the first time in our nation's history, Americans have access to real images of the horrors that are experienced by Palestinians daily.
And now TikTok is banned. So that's a platform that's been silenced. There's been a lot of talk about silencing Rumble, of course, in Great Britain, Brazil, everywhere, because they chose to protect Russell Brand because he was being wrongly attacked. Okay. And again, until due process plays out, innocent till guilty, right? I mean, at least that's what the system should be, right? Oh, wait. Hey, wait. There's a lot of censorship on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We know all about that too well here at Heartlands Media. I said things were going to get a little bit crazy. I didn't expect them to be that crazy, though.
And the onslaught that is taking place, this horrific assault on Gaza, really is being streamed to every single person here in this country. So we no longer have to rely on legacy media to get that information. Every single person has the information directly from the mouths of the people who are being slaughtered.
And you think she's going to say anything to stop it? No. I mean, let's face it. As soon as TikTok's banned, what else do you think they're willing to do? What else do you think's really going to happen here, folks? Crazy election year, eh?
It's an important point that we are seeing some really horrific images, and we know, based on our own reporting at CNN, that there is a lot of suffering in Gaza. I do want you, as you're talking about this war, to listen to what one of the president's top aides on national security, Jake Sullivan, said today at the White House briefing about a ceasefire, which I know that you support. Listen.
Those who would like to see a ceasefire in Gaza, a ceasefire is on the table today for 6 weeks to be built on into something more enduring if Hamas would simply release women, wounded, and elderly.
Now, to be clear here, any attempt for civilians to escape, there's so many examples and footages of children and women and men and elderly being shot at and killed in horrific forms. There have been, obviously, there are hostages still in Gaza, right? And the Israeli military doesn't seem to give a damn. I mean, that's why it explains why a lot of their relatives, stormed into parliament saying, hey, what are you doing to get back our relatives who are being held hostage? Nothing's being done about that. And of course, Netanyahu just said, hey, he's going to finish the job. Total victory. Say Rafah is home to 1.5 million people. I am very frightened and concerned for their well-being. And maybe people will step up and say, hey, stop it. Don't do any more. Maybe. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
And the fact that they will not do so says a lot to me about Hamas's regard for innocent Palestinian civilians.
If a ceasefire is on the table today, Hamas could agree to it today. Does he have a point?
Well, Hamas showed up to Egypt, is my understanding, for the negotiations. It was Israel that refused to send negotiators to be at the table to carve out. You have to remember that a ceasefire is not something that happens magically. It is a process that is negotiated by different parties that have interest.
And just to,
and so I
just
do
to be
hope,
clear,
God, the CNN reporters are so robotic. Beep, boop, beep. Ilhan Omar. I expected so much out of you, especially a lot of these other progressives, congressmen and women. But you know what? They're towing the line for the Democratic establishment. Nothing but word salad. There's no passion. I mean, you should be really concerned. I mean, 20% of the populace in Minnesota, or at least the voting populace in Minnesota for the primary, voted uncommitted. A good 13.2% in the state of Michigan in the Democratic primary voted uncommitted. Like, there is an uncommitted movement. And the thing is, you're assuming that those people might vote Democrat. And voter turnout has been very low this election cycle because no one's enthusiastic about seeing two old men fight over a cold bowl of soup. I mean, spoiler alerts in case you're just waking up. Trump is now the nominee of the Republican Party. Hold on. You know what? I should put on pretend my act face. Hold on. Trump's the nominee for the Republican Party? Biden's the nominee for the Democratic Party? Two old men fighting over a cold bowl of soup. We did it, folks. We broke that glass ceiling. 2020 has now been click, copy, pasted for 2024. I know, everybody. Calm down. Calm down. Just calm down. Y'all are way too excited for this live stream chat. Just calm down. Calm down, you people.
I mean, I just want to make sure I understand.
To be an honest broker in this conflict.
That's actually, I mean, I that's actually what I really want to clarify. Are you?
Oh God. I'm waiting for the day when CNN just goes broke.
Suggesting that when he says there's something on the table, a ceasefire that Israel has agreed to, they want those hostages back. Hamas will not agree to that. You don't think that that's where things, you don't believe that that is where things stand today in these negotiations?
Well, there was a current AP reporting that's...
By the way, I noticed your comments in the live stream chat here too. Hey, folks. I'm noticing that she's smiling a little bit way too much in this interview. You should kind of be a little more stoic, you know, maybe a little bit more emotionally concerned. Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 for Kit. That's perfectly fine for her to smile. You know, she can't always be concerned. Type 2, no, she should be concerned, because I remember way back in the early days, you know, what was happening in Palestine, what was happening in Gaza and the West Bank, where was an issue of concern. Now she's did a whole 180, you know? She's smiling way too much for me to accept that she's authentic. I wonder how many twos will get in the chat. I wonder.
Said, you know, negotiators from Hamas arrived in Egypt to negotiate for a ceasefire. And Israel decided not to send anyone down there to negotiate. You can certainly have certain demands that you want, and we obviously want the hostages released, returned to their families. There are American hostages that are included. There is an infant that is included in those hostages. And so it is important that we do everything that we can, but we can't be dishonest to the point where we are saying that everybody is doing everything that they can to be at the table to negotiate a ceasefire that can lead to a permanent solution.
But we already know that didn't happen, because Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated he is going to finish the job. And that's it. So I know there's a handful of people who have large social media followings, like people like Roger Waters, who are coming out saying, hey, there must be a ceasefire. And there's a lot of people in independent media that's been covering this better than corporate media has, who have been calling for a ceasefire. There's a lot of people on social media as a whole, across the political spectrum, that are saying, hey, this genocide in Gaza has to be stopped. But you want to know who's not listening? Our Democratic and Republican politicians. They're way too busy to ban TikTok, and then eventually they're going to start censoring other platforms. I want to be wrong about this, but I could see them coming after Rumble, putting the pressure further harder on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I mean, this is only the beginning, folks, because you can't have alternative platforms showing the people the truth, right? We're going to be living in some very strange times, folks, unless the people say no more.